Hello and welcome to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast with your host, Kimberly Dunn of Idlewild Horsemanship and Mindset Coaching. This podcast is here to bring you the very best in tips, tricks, and advice to help you better understand yourself, your mindset, and your horse, because your horsemanship starts with you. Let's go. Hello and welcome to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast. I nearly said the Enlightened Equestrian podcast. It has been a while since I've done that. Hello. I hope you are all well. Wherever you're listening from in the world, I hope life is good. I hope your horses are good. I hope you're doing well. So today's episode is being recorded last minute, literally last minute. And it is, I'm going to be riffing a little bit again. The main theme of the podcast today is hope, talking about hope and talking about resilience. And before I dive into kind of what I have scripted to talk about, I just wanted to talk a little bit about something that I have been dealing with in the last kind of 10 days, 2 weeks-ish, because it is relevant. And I think it's important to talk about and share. So I have had some stuff going on in my personal life in the last 10 days that has been really, really difficult. So I'm not going to go into detail because this is not what this podcast's about. But basically, I've been dating, okay? And the dating world is, if anybody's listening to this and are currently dating, is absolutely crackers, honestly. And again, I'm not going into too many details, but basically, I had been seeing someone and now I'm not. And the last kind of 10 days of that experience was really tough for a couple of different reasons. Really tough, to the point where, everybody, I burst a blood vessel in my eye. That's how stressed out I got with this. I woke up one morning and my eye, like basically half my eyeball was flipping red, and I mean bright red, where I'd burst a bloody blood vessel in my eyeball because of this flipping tool of a person. So yeah. Anyway, so the reason why I wanted to talk about it was because it's been a really tough experience, but I'm kind of mostly on the other side of it now. It didn't go on for very long. So obviously, like, the kind of moving on process from it is, I think also due to a lot of the work that I do on myself, mindset wise, etc., that definitely speeds things along. But because it, hasn't been going on forever, it's not been a massive getting over it process, even though it was totally shit. But what was my point? So yeah, I'm feeling much better, and I'm kind of coming out the other side of it. I'm not 100% there. I still have like little bits come up that aren't fun to feel. But mostly I would say I'm feeling a lot more positive and kind of empowered, and like a bit more kind of like I can see the magic and goodness in life again. Because let me tell you, I couldn't this time last week. You know that Taylor Swift song, that I can do it with the broken heart? That one, that's basically me the last 10 days, like pretending that everything's fine when it really was not. Oh my God. Anyway, so the reason why I'm talking about this is because of the tools that I have been using to help myself throughout the whole process, I would say, like the whole dating process, because it is difficult nowadays. But particularly during this like difficult period at the end, I have really had to lean into nervous system regulation tools, EFT. Oh my God, I've done so much EFT, let me tell you. For those of you that don't know what EFT is, it's emotional freedom technique. Oh wow, that has been so helpful. And just like a lot of journaling and a lot of reflection, allowing myself to feel feelings, which is never fun, is it? It's not fun, but it's got to be done. It's not fun, but it's got to be done. Like, yeah, I had to let myself do that. I had to let myself kind of sit with it. And yeah, it was not easy. But so nervous system regulation wise, yeah, I mean, I talk about it all the time, and I talk about it all the time with horses. And I find that like nowadays, I don't really need to, not to, sound like I'm, uh, I don't know, not to toot my own horn, but I don't really need to do it around horses anymore like I used to have to years ago. But, other things now other things now pop up in life that might trigger me a little bit or, activate me. This experience has certainly done that a few times. Um, yeah, and I've really had to lean into it from a fresh kind of perspective. A lot of the feelings that had come up in me in the last kind of 10 days have been big. um, and I haven't felt like it for a long time. Like some of the, like that heart racing feeling. Oh, flipping heck. There was one thing that happened, and I honestly felt like my heart was going to explode out my flipping chest. And I had to, like, really kind of think, "Right, okay, Kim, you are massively in fight mode." And I had to go and take myself for a big walk. Let me tell you, it was a big one. And you know what? It totally reset me, or regulated me. And then breath work and shaking it out, singing. There's been a lot of Taylor Swift played, let me tell you, a lot of Tortured Poets Department very loudly. Um, and I seriously hope this fella doesn't listen to this bloody podcast. How annoying would that be? If you are listening, get off my podcast. I don't think you will be. Yeah, so that. Um, and then what? Oh yeah, the EFT. Honestly, so it's been like from a coaching perspective, for me, for what I do, obviously I understand how everybody feels when they come to me and want to work with me because of the confidence or anxiety issues they're having with their horses. I know how it feels because I've been there. But it's been a good reminder to me of just how intense those things those feelings can feel when you're really in it. So yeah, but all of that is to say that, I have the tools now. So I have the tools so I can help myself. I have the tools so that when things pop up in my life like this, I can use them and I can help myself. I don't have to stay stuck. I don't have to be consumed by things. Because let me tell you, if this had happened to me, I don't know, 10 years ago plus, this process would have not been, uh, it would have been a lot worse, and it wouldn't have, it, I wouldn't have moved through it as well, I guess. So yeah, again, that's not to say I'm like totally fine now. I am mostly fine now. So yeah, these tools, they work. I mean, I know they work because I help people with them all the time and I've helped myself with them. But this has been a really good reminder to me that, things can happen in your life and these tools will always be there to be used and will always work for you and help you. They are invaluable life tools, the tapping, the nervous system regulation work, the journaling, the self-awareness is a massive one as well. So, yeah, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. That is why I will always keep banging on about it and trying to help people with it and educate people on it so that everybody can have these tools and use them for the rest of their lives with their horses and, in other parts of life that sometimes like to come up and kick us up the arse. But also, the other thing I wanted to talk about is resilience, because, you know, again, you kind of, when things like this happen, when a bad thing happens, you tend to like move through different stages, don't you? Like you'll move through the stage of what the hell, why is this happening? Then there's like the kind of grief, and then there's the sadness, and then there's the anger. I definitely like moved through all of those. And then you kind of get a bit of clarity, and you can move through it. Um and in the first couple of bits of it, I couldn't see past it. But now, but I knew I would be okay ultimately. But again, you kind of get a bit consumed, don't you? Like you get a bit, it's all a bit heavy. Um, but I knew I was going to be okay. I knew it would all pass. Um, and I kind of just kept hanging on to that, and sure enough, it has. But the good thing now is that I'm nearly, at the other side of it, and I can see all the lessons, all of them, in the whole process of what happened with this person. Like, I can see the lessons in it. I am thankful for the lessons in it. If you'd have spoken to me at the beginning of this happening, I would have said, I wish it had never happened, and I wish I'd never met this guy, and, all the rest of it. But now I'm happy I did. I'm happy for the good bits. They were fun and nice. But I'm also happy that I have received the lessons that I will take forward, the growth that I will take forward. Um, yeah. So there's like, and again, the reason why I'm sharing this is that if you are struggling with something right now in your life, whether it's with your horse, whether it's in real life, whether it's kind of romantically or health or whatever, you know, um, once the dust starts to settle, I think I know it is so important that you are able to look at the situation and think, right, okay, that sucked. That was really rubbish. However, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What lessons can I take? What growth can I take? How can I turn this situation, which was not fun at all, how can I use this and turn it into wisdom for the rest of my life? Um, and that is how we grow as humans. And that's how we, become our best selves, that are able to flow through life a little easier, because we're kind of learning some of the rules of life a bit, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so there's a nice personal share for you without diving into too much detail, because this is not a dating podcast. Um, oh God. Although sometimes I think I should do a bloody dating podcast, because, geez. Anyway, so let's get into hope. Right, hope. So, hope is really important, and hope is something I wanted to talk about because it kind of popped in my head this week, that it's important to, again, when things feel tough, to still feel hope. So I also want you to think about how, like, hope isn't a naive thing for you to ever feel. Um, I think sometimes we can get a little kind of, when we don't think positively about things and we get negative, it's easy to think you shouldn't hope. You shouldn't hope for things or about things, because um, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I don't think that's true. Um, so okay. So hope does kind of get a bad reputation, because some people think that it's dangerous, that you are setting yourself up for failure, it's naive, and that it's easier to expect the worst so that you can't be hurt. Um, but what if the opposite is actually true? This is what I'd like you to kind of think on today. What if the opposite is true? What if losing hope could be one of the things that's keeping you stuck? And what if allowing yourself to hope again is actually one of the bravest things you can do? I think it's one of the bravest things you can do. Hope, as an important caveat, hope plus action. Because hope alone isn't particularly helpful, but hope plus action is. And again, it all kind of comes down to, how we see the world and how the world, we kind of form our own world around us through what we see and what we think and what we believe. So I tend to see a lot with clients, people saying things like, I'll never get my confidence back. I've always been anxious. I don't think I'll ever enjoy riding again. I think this is just who I am now. And generally, what is underneath all of those statements is that loss of hope. Because when we lose hope, that's when we stop trying altogether, don't we? There's no action. When we stop believing that things can change, or we start accepting a future that we don't actually want, you're stuffed, aren't you? And that can happen in every area of life, like I've just talked about. It can happen after setbacks. What's a setback? Setbacks, after heartbreak, accidents, disappointments, after things that just don't work out the way we wanted them to. And sometimes it just feels safer not to hope, because then we can't be disappointed. Or that's what we tell ourselves anyway. Okay. So, yeah, I think allowing yourself to hope is important, as long as you have some action along with that too. So, I mean, look, thinking the worst about a situation, so expecting the worst, feels safe. Because if you tell yourself, oh, don't get your hopes up, don't get excited, don't believe that that's going to happen, because then you think, oh, if it doesn't work out, I'll have kind of prepared myself for it, so it won't hurt as much then. But here's what I've realised, and yeah, here's the irony. Here's the irony here. So with this chappie, I was very much like, right, don't get excited, because it can all go wrong. So I'm spending the whole time like just trying to be all chill. And then there's part of me that's like predicting danger almost. And then it still happened. So I basically suffered twice. And it hurt just as much. So it doesn't work. So you might as well just not. You might as well just enjoy it. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's not actually anything you can do about it. So, and then your nervous system always is thinking the worst case scenario is going to happen, isn't it? And that's just exhausting. And what it does is it keeps your brain searching for evidence all the time that confirms your fears. Okay. So how can hope actually change the way that we think? So I've talked before about, perspective and how we do get to shape our own realities. We've got things like the reticular activating system that filter out information that, or filter in, filter out information that matches your beliefs and everything. So when we feel hopeful, our brains then start looking for possibilities instead of problems. And it becomes easier then to notice opportunities, creativity, etc. And then it becomes easier to actually take action, and easier for you to imagine a different future. Because then hope creates expansion for you. It like opens your world up. Fear creates contraction. And that closes your world. That makes you shrink. And whereas hope does not guarantee an outcome, nor does fear guarantee an outcome, by the way, what hope does is it creates movement. And movement is what creates change. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Hope doesn't guarantee an outcome. Fear doesn't guarantee an outcome. But hope creates movement, and movement creates change. Okay. And I don't think any of the people that I've worked with, any of my clients, would have created the transformations that they have if they didn't have like a little tiny spark of hope left. Hope that things could feel different, hope that they could enjoy their horse again, hope that they could trust themselves again, because that tiny little spark of hope really does matter. Okay. So, so. If you have lost hope or you're scared to hope, here are a few things that I'd invite you to try to help you kind of shift that in your mind. So ask yourself things like, what if things could get better? What if I'm not stuck forever? What if I can change? You can change, by the way, basically all of that stuff. What if this isn't the end of my story? It might feel like it, but it ain't. What if there is another possibility? Because your brain is so incredibly powerful, and the questions you ask yourself matter. So, why don't you try starting to look for evidence of change and celebrating tiny wins, borrowing hope from someone else if you need to. Borrow it from me. Here's some hope for you. um, I often end up holding hope for my clients until they can hold it for themselves. And there's absolutely no shame in that. You are a human being. You're allowed to have moments where you feel like, oh no. Um, I mean, listen to me. That's basically what I've done for the last 10 days. I'm out the other side of it now. Hip, hip, hooray. Now, if you're listening to this and you've been feeling stuck, listen to me. Listen to me. You are not broken and you are not behind and you are not too far gone. The fact that you still want things to be different means there is still hope inside of you. The fact that you are listening to this podcast means there is still hope inside of you, even if it's tiny. So protect that hope and nurture it and hang on to it because it will grow. And hope is the thing that changes everything. Okay. Now, I really hope I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it was helpful. If it resonated, please share it to your stories, tag me, subscribe, do all of the things because that really helps me to spread the word with the podcast. And if you are ready to stop feeling stuck and start creating real change in your confidence, in your mindset, and in your relationship with your horse, I have a few spaces available for one-to-one coaching and hypnotherapy for the rest of the summer. So head to the link in my bio on the socials, which is at the Horsemanship and Mindset Coach, or send me an email at info@idlewildhorsemanship.com, or alternatively, you can click the link. I'll pop it in the show notes. As always, I really hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you in the next one, and I will not be having more dating updates, I promise. I just thought it would be a helpful thing to share. And also, if you see me on my stories or anywhere else on the socials and you've thought, what is wrong with her eye? Why is her eye so bloodshot? Now you know. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Over and out.